Bom dia, bom dia.
Good morning. Good morning. I don't know you guys, but I get the chills when I see this video. Welcome to Scania Tech Week. We're going to start today with a feeling already thinking that we're going to miss it. I think, oh, please don't go away. I'm going to miss you. I listened to that in the car to reach our last day of event. The event was made along with you guys in our chat. You're following us since Monday. We've been together, following up all the insights of the impact of digitalization and technology in business and in our lives. And mainly looking into the humane side of this journey. If you still don't know, I'm Patricia Ascioli. I'm responsible of the communication area for Scania Latin America, and it's been a great joy to have your company during this marathon of knowledge that's Tech Week. As usual, let's recap and take a peep into the insights of yesterday's talk. And you can already put your insights in our chat. Yesterday, we talked about connectivity and the world of opportunities that arises from new technologies. We've talked about the importance of bringing more women to transportation and technology sectors, the need to add value to the individual and society when providing services. Renata Fuchs talked about this. We also talked that technology needs to talk to the reality of our customers. And that's what Uber Masterari talked about yesterday. And we also said the data is the solution of our customers' problems. It was a wonderful day, and it will be wonderful today as well, because we're going to talk about future trends. We're going to go way forward. What is the profile of this professional that's going to fill up these needs? We're going to talk about people, and we're going to get technology on our side, talking about how technology will help solve human problems. We are talking about this already, but you will interact with us. It will be a talk to open your mind and to close the week with a golden key. Let's go to the quick info. Give some time for the people who are a little bit late to log in. Our event is 100% remote, all virtual. We're following all the protocols to ensure health and safety of all personnel. And if you have not watched Tech Week last few days, take a look at Scania Brazil YouTube channel. We have a playlist and you can take a look there. As you know, we'll be together until noon and we have simultaneous interpretation, Portuguese, English, and Spanish. So you have no excuse, you will understand. You have to click on the icon below and choose the language that you want to hear. Your interaction is fundamental. Comment, send questions on the YouTube chat. We're gonna bring you here inside our event. Now, I think we can take a peep. No, we're not yet. If you're not in our VIP cabin, send an email to vip@scania.com. With that email, we're gonna put you here with us. Ju, who is already in our VIP box, please? Oh, good morning, Pachi. Good morning to everyone that is with us at Tech Week. We're going to finish this week with high energy. Let's talk to everybody in our VIP box. Good morning, guys. How are you guys? Are you excited? Oh, it's so nice to see you guys here. Please stay with us until noon. We're going to have a lot of interesting things to discuss. And if you're here on the chat, please send comments and questions, give us the thumbs up. We're going to be very happy with your interaction. Let's go to today's agenda. I think you're going to be curious to know who you're going to see this morning. We're going to start this talk with some guests from Sweden. They're very well connected with society's trends and our industry to design the best future for Scania. We're going to learn from Håkan Schild, which is the head for autonomous solution for Scania Group. Afterwards, we're going to have Tony Sandberg, which is the director of mobility solutions. And finishing our Tech Week, we have Cristiano Cru from Startse, which is a modern school and a platform for new business. We always start the week with what? Asking questions, putting everyone on board. Our talk today is about the future, so that's the lead for our question today. So let's go to it. Imagine that you are participating on a contest that the prize is a trip to Mars. What would you do? You would go tomorrow, or would you say Mars? Uh-oh, no way. Or would you still be a little unsure because you don't trust the available technologies? You can vote by using the QR code. You can point your cell phone to the QR code. The QR code will be on the bottom left part of the screen, and you can vote, and we'll share the results soon. And how can we start this morning? We will start with high energy. We're going to ask today Mr. Håkan Svenstrand. He has just came to Brazil, but he is already learning Portuguese. He's the VP of Research and Development for Scania Latin America. He has about 250 engineers with him, and he's here with us. I think he's listening to us already. Håkan, can you hear us? Are you with us? Good morning, Patricia. Good morning, everyone.
But I try.
Not a problem.
Thanks. Oh. No, but it's a pleasure to be here and a part of the Tech Week, and I am really proud about the arena we have shared this weekend together with you, and we have had so many relevant topics to discuss, and I hope that every one of you look forward to the next 2 hours with a lot of interaction and discussions. Technology and innovation is, of course, something that is really inspiring for me, especially, of course, it cannot be different when you're responsible for the research and development at Scania Latin America. Innovation is in the walls behind me, it's in the company. And as a century-old company, of course, we have launched many innovations during the years. And just to mention a few of them, already in 1961, we outweighed the legislation when it comes to crash safety. 1968, we launched the V8, the most powerful engine at that time. And 1995, we introduced as the first OEM, the airbags in the trucks. But of course, on the topic that we discussed today, it made me even more interesting to see what we have done the last years. 2018, we started our first trial of autonomous trucks in Australia. And also we put the first full electric bus fleet into operations. And as some of you have heard also the last week, is that we are really proud at Scania also that a couple of months ago we reached 500,000 connected vehicles, Scania vehicles around the globe. And that was after an early and brave decision to make it a standard. And of course, we have been able to introduce a lot of services and customer value in connection to this, all this data, but also to really challenge and develop our way of developing things and also the processes within the company. And here we have so much more to do. We have the connected vehicles, we have a lot of data, and in our development today, it's more or less half of it is software. I will talk a little bit more about this later on. Just want to say a few words also about the R&D operations we have here locally in Brazil. Latin America is a very important market for Scania, as you know. We have 20% of our sales in this region, And Brazil as such is the most important country, of course, when it comes to volume. It's our biggest market. And if we then go to the R&D operations we have here, it has been for many, many years and still is the biggest R&D operations we have outside Sweden. And the last years, we also invested in new R&D facilities to really reinforce the importance and also our ability to develop close to the customers and the needs here in Latin America. The team we have here is a very important part of what we do for the global market, especially when it comes to product validation. We have special condition in this region, of course, with the high altitudes, we have high temperatures, we have really rough road conditions in some parts of Latin America. And we need to be close to this and learn and understand this together with our customers, of course. The big, actually, test vehicle operations we have here is mainly done together with the customers in the different countries around the region. Here in Sao Bernardo, also our R&D center, we also have test facilities for powertrain development and powertrain testing, where we can certify and homologate new powertrain solutions for the market. And the engineers, they are not sitting here actually today because almost everyone works from home office. So it's empty in the office. It's really sad. But the team here is like all engineers within Scania. We are doing things for all markets around the globe. But of course, we have a specific interest and responsibility to develop performance steps and application that are needed in this region, the Latin American countries, and especially Brazil. If we look on the global forces, like the urgent need of decarbonization and the urbanization, globalization going also, and for sure the new technology enablers that are coming, that is really driving the development of full, real, sustainable transport solutions. And our approach at Scania is based on 3 pillars. One pillar is the energy efficiency, and the other one is the electrification and renewable fuels, and then smart and safe transports. And by trying to combining these with our in-depth knowledge and close cooperation with customer, we can provide all different applications from a sustainable perspective in a very good way, I would say, already today. When I talk about these technology enablers, of course, it's still also about developing new renewable fuels, etc. But of course, the main trends is electrification, it's autonomous or automation, and then connectivity. And through all these, digitalization, as I mentioned before. And for that, of course, a century-old company need to explore and change the way we're doing things. And I guess that we're in a transformation in this new complex domain, and we take it really seriously, where we try to really pick up the historically success factors we have within the company, but look towards new trends and new ways of doing things, and much in a direction of more lean, agile principles and methods. But important to mention is that I'm convinced, and I think that many employees and all our colleagues here at Scania believes that we have a really good foundation for this, and this is our leadership principles, our core values, our people, the way we have developed the things that's sitting in the wall, how we behave towards each other, how we give each other a room for innovation. But of course, the leadership within Scania, through this value flow within Scania, we need to challenge this and train ourselves to really create this open arena where people can try, explore, where we dare to try and dare to fail, where we want to learn and explore, etc., and create this possibility and utilize all these differences amongst us and all things around this. And I think, as I said, we have a really good foundation. We have a lot of challenges, and I'm sure that we take this to a next level and we will be successful. And you will hear more about this, and you can put your questions to the next coming interesting speech and speakers for the session today. Thank you very much. And I should not talk more now. I hand over to you, Patricia, and the other parts of the team there.
Thank you. Fantastic, Håkan. Thank you very much. Obrigada. E para você que está escutando,
Thank you, Håkan. If you are listening, you know that if they have the Silicon Valley in the US, we have the ABC Valley here with a lot of innovation and technology. If you're listening to us and you're not a colleague, you can know that we have technology, innovation, everything we need to make the transformation of the logistics transportation ecosystem. Before we continue with our program, we want to know, do you want to go to Mars or not? I'm curious. I wouldn't go. I would prefer to go to the moon. I like to live on cloud 9. I think I would stay here. I don't know. Let's see the result. Wow.
Everybody's decided going to Mars. 37, they would go tomorrow. 20 say they wouldn't have the courage because they don't trust in the technology available. But let's follow in this talk. We don't need to go to Mars to talk about future. Now we'll change languages, okay? But you keep on following. We have simultaneous translation, okay?
we are going to jump into the future. How far will the innovation and technology take us? And in a distant tomorrow, will we ever need transportation? To provoke your imagination, our imagination, expand our horizons. I'm very pleased to invite Håkan Schilt, our Vice President for Autonomous Solutions, to be with us here today. And Håkan, would you go to Mars or would you stay here around? Good morning.
Good morning, Patricia. That's a great opening question. I think, yeah, I would like to see how things are in Mars. I think it's no one's been there. That would be a fantastic opportunity. The only thing is, I would definitely buy a return ticket because I want to get back home as well.
Yes, I would do the same, Håkan. Very pleased to have you here. We're very excited to be talking about the future. But for one first question, so we start this open conversation. What is moving? You just heard what's moving the transport and logistic ecosystem to change? What are the drivers for the transformation?
Well, I think we've been very clear at Scania on this topic for many years. I think sustainability is the prime mover for the change and the need to make a change in the transport and logistics system that we have today. It is not a sustainable transport system, and over the past decades, humankind and society has been very much aware of the fact that we cannot continue like this. We are changing the climate. We are making the Earth a less interesting and less comfortable place to live, which means that we need to change. And transportation is one of the key CO2 contributors. So I think that is the foundation for the drive. At the same time, the reason why I think this topic is even more on the agenda nowadays is also the fact that there are actually an option. There's a technology shift that's enabling a shift towards a technology that is sustainable and a transportation system that is sustainable, and that will be the means how to create the sustainable transport and logistics system. It's thanks to the technology shift. And I think when we're talking about technology shift, we have to look a bit into the history as well and see, have we had any previous technology shifts? And yes, we've had a few. The most recent one was just about a century ago, as Håkan Sävenstrand mentioned. Scania started out a little bit over a century ago in the late 1800s, making bicycles and railway wagons. And that was based on the technology then, which was the steam and coal. That was the inventions that we were producing means of transport back then. But then late 1800s, beginning of the 1900s, there was the introduction of the combustion engine. And that transformed Scania from bicycles and railway wagons into trucks and buses. And now we are facing a technology shift that we call the ACE technology shift, which is autonomous, connected, and electrified. And that's, I mean, it only happens on a rare occasion. Let's face that also, that we are not seeing this type of technology shifts very often in the transportation industry. We had a combustion engine. Previous to that, we had a steam and coal, which was the late 1700s, James Watt, etc., inventing the steam engine. And prior to that, it was the wheel that was the major base invention for land-based transportation. And so we've had 3 technology shifts before in land-based transportation. And now we are entering the 4th one. And when we're talking on the timeline, those 4 technology shifts, including the one we are in the middle of right now, that's spanning over 5,000 years. So it is a very exciting time to be in the vehicle industry, in the transportation and the logistics industry over the next 5, 10, 15 years, because it's now we are defining the future of transportation.
We hear you, Håkan. We hear you. So we are part of it and very excited for that transformation. Thank you so much. And then following on that transformation, there's a lot being said on smart cities. But you mentioned about smart society, and I really like this concept. And I would like to ask you to explain, what is a smart society? Are we close to a smart city or a smart society? How do you explain that to us?
Well, I think this is a very personal and individual interpretation of smart society, but I think it starts very much with being aware, that we are aware of that our history when it comes to transportation is part of creating climate change. So before being fully smart, at least now we are aware that we need to change. Then there are numerous technologies coming into place that can help us as humans to be part of a smarter society. And it's a bunch of technological innovations over the past, 100 years, but it has very much intensified over the last couple of decades as well. Various communication technologies makes us collectively smarter. It's easier to share information, spread information, both facts and non-facts, as we know. But I think the communication is a crucial part of being a smart society. Then what's really interesting and what we are using a lot in autonomous development is machine learning and AI. And that's a fantastic technology. It's still at quite an early stage, I would say, but it's a fantastic technology to help us as humans and our society to be even smarter with the help of data and smart algorithms. We can bring insights to ourselves and to society that were not comprehensible before, and we couldn't grasp them because they were too complex. The links and etc. between were not reachable by the human brains, etc. And then I think also by the introduction of for example, autonomous and AI, robotics, etc., a lot of the mundane jobs or mundane tasks that we have historically, a lot of repetitive, not very human jobs can be automated. And I'm a technology optimist, and I think we should see the opportunities that the technology shift. I know there's a lot of people out there who's afraid of losing jobs, etc. But keep in mind that there's been major technology shifts, not only in transportation, but also in agriculture and many other industries over the last centuries that has drastically changed the way humans work and interact with each other. And what automation, autonomous vehicles, automation in factories, robotics, etc., and AI in automating a lot of the desk jobs brings to us is that humans can do things that humans are really good at. And humans are really good at talking to other people, caring, showing empathy, showing love, all of those aspects. Robots are fantastic at manufacturing things, but robots can never replace a human in schools or in hospitals, elderly homes, etc. That social aspect is not reachable by the robots and the technology, at least not for quite some time. So we can focus on what we are really good at as humans.
That's
so
good.
It's good. I think that's part of being a smart society.
Great. We think it's a very important to you to bring that, what the robots and all this automation technology cannot bring us, but we can have harmony, being along together, robots, automation, machine learning, and humans, as you just mentioned. Very exciting for that. And then we have, Håkan, many questions for you on our chat, but I will ask Juliana to help me out. We have one question from you, from
Yes, actually we have a question from Leonardo Pereira. He's asking, when do you think we'll have 100% fleet electrified?
That's that's the $1 million question.
Yes, it's
so,
about
where
future.
Is the $1 million?
It's a visionary. It's a tricky question.
No, I think it will be driven from a very economical point of view. There will be some early adopters, and I think Tony will talk about that later on, who have sustainability on top of their agenda, which means that they will be very early adopting the electrified vehicles. But then it comes down to hard economics and a business reality where it has to be economically and financially viable, which means that they need to outcompete the traditional combustion engine and the diesel engines. And that is foreseeable, the TCO parity, the total cost of operation, and the parity between the conventional propulsion methods, that is foreseeable within the next decade for a lot of the applications. Then there will be some applications that still might require a more traditional powertrain or some other sort of electrified powertrain. The vast majority will probably be electrified by the 2030s. So during the 2030s, there will be the total shift between in the rolling fleet, I should say, between the from the traditional combustion engine to electrified and BEV technology vehicles, because that will be the cheapest form of transportation.
Well, I hope to be
but
there.
Tony will bring you up to date on more on that.
Well, I hope to be able to test, to be there on 2030 to see this shift really taking place in a more, more than a trend, to be a reality, I would say.
It's going to happen. It's going to happen sooner. But when we have the rolling fleet being the vast majority, of the rolling fleet. Over 50% will probably be in the 2030s. But already now and in the coming years, there's a huge increase in the sales of battery electric vehicles going forward.
Well, talking about electrification and trends and so on, we have a pandemic scenario that has accelerated many things. One of them is the digitalization world. Do you think this, in this sense, it is also an opportunity to approach autonomous vehicles in a more like faster way, quicker way?
Absolutely. We saw last year during the early days of the pandemic, when everyone was in a bit of a panic mode, we had to shut down our production here in Sweden or in Europe, as a fact, in April last year. And one of the reasons was that we could probably have kept running for a little bit more, but because our suppliers, we ran out of components. And one of the reasons why we ran out of components was not only that our suppliers didn't have the components, but that there were no truck drivers that could go and pick them up. They did not want to get into the northern parts of Italy, where the pandemic was spreading dramatically during March and April last year. So, and we saw the whole disruptions in the supply chain, starting already with the pandemic outbreak in China in January, which disrupted the container flows, etc. So I think everyone in supply chain consuming transport saw how vulnerable the system was, with just-in-time deliveries, with extremely small stock levels, and then a pandemic hitting us. And that accelerated, and we've had a lot of customers contacting us for having a more robust system when it comes to transportation. So yes, the insights of this pandemic probably accelerates the implementation of autonomous. And we've seen that in so many places. There was Amazon had in the US, they had a huge increase in the number of customers coming to their platforms for e-commerce. However, they had a major challenges in distributing, because there were lockdowns, there was a lack of drivers. Drivers didn't want to go to houses that they were suspecting was infected by COVID, etc. So it's an implementation.
Interesting. Yep. It's always a challenge. Everywhere we look around, the pandemic was a challenge for everyone, and then it still is. It's not over yet. And of course, we have opportunities and to see some trends that became more useful at this time. We have one more question from our chat. Please, Juliana.
Yes, we have a question from Clayton Freitas. He asking, how do you think we can leverage ACE? ACE is autonomous, connected, and electrified. So how do you think we can leverage ACE in countries such as Brazil, where we may not have an infrastructure that promotes that type of technology? Should we focus on smaller hubs? What's your opinion, Håkan?
We are looking and working on a couple of cases in Brazil, and the mining industry is very big in Brazil, and I think the mining industry is a very good case for autonomous vehicles, and we believe for many years that this technology, before it reaches the maturity on being safe on public roads and the complexity on public roads, it will start in confined areas such as mining sites or ports or logistical centers, or it could be called hubs in general, because that's a controlled environment. There's no legislation required since it's not on public roads, and it's also in line with the technology maturity. So a lot of focus on that. And then from having various hubs being automated, it's also a smaller step to go into hub-to-hub flows. Because once you have automated hubs, at one point it will also make sense to make the investment in the infrastructure between various hubs. If the transportation flow is big enough between two hubs, which means that you can motivate the infrastructural investments, then that will happen. And that will happen step by step and gradually across the world.
Great. Thank you very much, Håkan. We will be back with you, but now we're going to change a little bit. Please stay tuned. Håkan,
Sure.
we will invite you in a little bit. Then we have our camarote coming in and talking to our guests directly. But before that, mas antes disso, a gente vai falar sobre o futuro aqui com uma outra pergunta para vocês, pessoal. A gente quer vocês participando, não é isso? Ju?
Exatamente.
We're going to talk about future, guys, with you guys. We have a second research today. We have autonomous vehicles in this very interesting conversation with Håkan. So we want to know from you guys, are you prepared for this future? Would you imagine you would need a bus to go somewhere, and as soon as you enter this bus, you realize there's no driver. So would you ride on a bus without a driver? You can answer this question pointing to the QR code that's on the screen, and you can say yes, no, or if you wouldn't want to because you don't trust the technology that is available. So point your cell phone to the QR code on the bottom left part of our screen. We have our next guest now, the next super guest, and I have to change languages again. You're gonna help me today. Let's go together in this journey.
Next guest is an expert in driving technology and business shifts in our ecosystem of transport and logistics. He is also used to navigate in complex environment. Well, let's meet him. Please welcome Ton Sandberg. Good to have you with us. Welcome to TechWeek. Can you hear us, Tony?
Very good. Thank you for having me.
Well, it's great to have you with us. So let's start our conversation pinpoint innovation. So you have been working with innovation inside Scania for many years. What do you see as a main challenge to be innovative in a big company?
Well, since you stress a big company, I guess you want to compare it with a small company. And then you need to realize that big companies are big organizations with a lot of specialists. It's divided into different topics, different areas where their expertise are. And actually one problem is that no one sees the whole picture. They all see parts of the problem, and no one looks at the potential to improve the system. So that's one issue, and that could be solved as in my previous position responsible for research and innovation at Scania. We had the opportunity to look at the holistic perspective of the transport system and look for potential solutions. But then you stroll into the next topic and the next barrier, and that would be resources. Even though Scania is a big company with a lot of resources, earning fairly a lot of money, resources are always scarce because companies grow big because they are successful in doing something. And then the number one priority is keep on doing what you're good at, earning more money. So it means actually to challenge the traditional course and the direction of the company if you ask them to do and invest resources into something else that might pay off in the future. So that is actually the biggest hurdle, and also follow up by different views of the future. Looking on the future from different perspectives. We don't see the same picture. We don't see the same goal for the future. Some see it improving the current product a tiny little bit, and others say want to take huge leaps. When you need to harmonize and align that. That takes time in big organizations.
Well, speed is it's an issue for sure. But thank you so much. I guess we are an innovative company, so we know the challenges very well. But how to surpass that and take advantage of the good side of how to do it that in a good way. Thank you very much. Now let's go to a second question that we have here for you. The transport industry has new competitors for quite long time. But now we see new trends and new players coming into our industry, right? How is Scania and all the industry is disrupting along the years? Is it harder to compete with traditional than to startups? How do you see that?
I would say it's not harder, but the reality is that we need to compete with both, and that is hard. Scania needs to stay competitive towards our traditional competitors, the OEMs, earning money in order to transform into the future. But we also need to face the upcoming competitors and the startups with their speed and their agility. And that's the real problem. We need to do both. And so that's the big challenge that we have right now.
Interesting. Well, let's see how we can enhance this challenge together and how we can elaborate a bit more on the three horizons of innovation inside Scania. How do you see the dilemma between exploiting and exploring in reinforcing our learning inside the Scania? That's a big one. That's a gift to you.
Yeah, it is. Thank you. And I had it on my plate for a number of years, as you stated in the beginning. So the battle between exploration and exploitation is ongoing all the time. And what's realized during my journey trying to find compromises and find solutions to this is that, yes, you need to do both. But if you do the exploration, following the outside world, following the speed of the startups and the research front, then you end up with a big gap towards the exploration part of the company. That really means that when you try to talk to them and try to convince them to assign you resources, they don't understand what you're talking about. They don't see the same picture of the future as you see. And they don't want to do something else with the resources that are in front of us. So that's why a couple of years ago, I found this model of the three horizons, meaning that you need to do it not only in two horizons, doing exploration and exploitation, but you need three. And the reason for three is that then you avoid the fact of polarization. You avoid the fight between exploration and exploitation. And you have seen it in the politics in the US election. You have seen it in the Brexit and perhaps in the European Union as well. It's never good when you have two sides fighting each other. So you need to have an intermediate part. And that's why you needed the three horizon concept. So the three horizon concept includes exploration and exploitation, but it also have the horizon 2, where you scale up new things that come from the exploration phase. And also you handle the adaptation of the core technologies and the core business into the evolving areas of horizon 2. So the three horizon model is really a way to handle the conflict between exploitation and exploration.
Fantastic. That's good. Thank you for explaining your concept on the three horizons. We're gonna be coming with more questions, but first I will ask Juliana to share with us some comments from our public, from our audience today, our colleagues from Scania and the students, what we have so far, Juliana.
Bem, Paty, para variar, tá bombando aqui o nosso chat. Pessoal, obrigada.
Oh, yes, our chat is on fire. I will get some comments. Lucas Lima is with us. He's with us daily. Thank you for being here daily. And he said, intelligent systems at service for the man, helping to solve problems such as natural disasters, security, and etc. And that's all for a better future. We also have Mauro Sérgio Oliveira. He's very excited. He's speaking from FATEC Mauá. He's saying they're just here absorbing all the content and he's thanking us. Thank you, Mauro. This morning is amazing. And the third comment here is from Everton Queiroz. He's always here with us. And he's saying that an intelligent society has to do with sustainability. this man and machine interaction will only be perfect if our generation makes it different. Yes, we're looking into the legacy that we're to leave for the next generations, and Scania is working for a better scenario for the humanity. We're gonna follow with Tony talking a little bit about this.
Many comments from our audience in regards of your speech, and also Håkan that was before you. And then since we have also students around us, and there are exciting colleagues to really willing to understand more about the future, I would ask you, what new skills are expected for this new journey of the future of so many new technology, the ACE that we just talked about it? What are the skills of this new professional?
Well, of course, the skills are still the traditional ones. Need to be skilled in mathematics and physics. That will be the basics for what we do. But also, as Håkan mentioned, you need to have engineers working with AI and machine learning, but also in battery chemistry, you need to understand what's happening inside the batteries during their life lengths. But from my top of mind, also important that you often forget is that you need to have people that can understand the system perspective, that can understand the needs and the business models between actors in a transforming system. Of course, what will happen when we transform into the ACE technologies is that our transport system will be connected to other systems. It will be connected to the energy system, and it will be connected to the digital infrastructure system. And it will be highly dependent on both these systems. So we need to be resilient and handle things like cybersecurity and stuff like that. So we will need a broad variety of competencies from the traditional within R&D, but also business development and understanding the system perspective.
Okay. Well, I will be training my mathematics here to see if I can embrace this challenge, but very good to know. I think we have all of us really looking for how we can really be part of this transformation by reskilling ourselves to be part of it. Thank you very much, Tony. Now we're gonna be doing a different dynamic. We have our audience that will talk direct to you and Håkan and ask questions from our, we call here in Brazil, camarote. I don't know how you say camarote in English, I'm sorry. But if you know and if you're watching, please put in our chat so I can repeat. But we're gonna have our audience here asking you some questions. So can you have
And if
Tony?
you want, I can elaborate on the question that Håkan got on the BEV vehicles later on.
Okay, perfect. You can go ahead, please, if you can elaborate a little bit more about the BEV, the electrical.
Okay.
And then we're gonna be coming up with our questions from our public. Okay, thank you, Tony.
Okay, so I think the question that Håkan got was, when will we be 100% electric? But the real question first must be, why should we be electric? Because the mission of Scania is to provide sustainable transport systems. So just going electric will not be enough. We must make sure that the energy producing and propelling our vehicles is sustainable. So it could, be honest, be sustainable fuels, and then we can be sustainable rather quickly. If you are to run it on electricity, the electricity must be green as well. So therefore, it's not the question of being electric that's the answer. When will we be sustainable? But anyhow, if we do that, Håkan also said that it will take time and it will pick up speed once there are business of going electric. And the logic behind that is that if you look at the customer base, you can divide it into two phases. The majority group, where the customer makes businesses depending on their logic, makes financial sense to do this investment and purchase a new vehicle from Scania, etc. But there is also another part of the market where the customers, the early adopters, as Håkan said, they don't make rational decisions all the time. They want to have something that's new because it's new, because they have other trade-offs, other benefits that they can see by introducing this technology. It could be a PR marketing thing. It could be that they can attract new customers or drivers or something else. And a different kind of logic, making them able to go to this technology sooner. But it's also connected to the ability of handling risk and how do you perceive the risk of going into something new before everybody else. Is it an opportunity or is it a threat? So in my new position, I'm working with this kind of customers that are willing to take the step for everybody else and picking up speed and doing the journey towards e-mobility with us. So we are really trying to work with leading customers, and they will be the lighthouses for the upcoming customers to show that this is really working, and then the others can follow. But also connecting this to the Free Horizon model is to understand that there is something even before the early adopters. The technology and the solutions are invented somewhere. They are invented in what I call the Horizon 3, where new things are born, so to speak. So that must also be handled, and then we need to scale it up into Horizon 2, and then we bring it into the Horizon 1, the mature market. And the speed of that transformation is actually controlled by, as Håkan said, also by money. And the rules of the game are designed by the society. So the society will always determine the speed of the transformation by setting the incentives for the market, by setting the legislation for the market, and setting the terms and conditions for the market. So really the answer is when we will be 100% electric, it depends on the politicians. When will they set the rules for electrification on the market? When will it be beneficial for the actors to go electric? They will determine by taxes, regulations, and incentives. And what we can do is to push them and make that journey as fast and sustainable as possible.
Good that you approach the sustainability journey to our events, because as you know, Scania has a purpose, a very clear one, and is to drive the shifts toward the sustainable transport. And of course, we have to be a leader, we have to act as one. And we have also been working here all around the globe to be pushing on the technology. So we have these early adopters with us. So you are watching us today, are you an early adopter of changes? Are you usually an early adopter of changes?
I think so. And let's see what our public, our audience is saying about this. We asked them in our poll, if you would take a bus without a driver, an autonomous bus. So let's see the answer of our poll. That's great. Our audience would take this bus.
So that's good for you, Håkan.
Yes.
Yes, great, thanks.
So thank you guys for answer. So we would be taking this autonomous bus, I would say. Good. We have a question, Juliana, for them.
Yes, now our VIP area or cabin. Thank you guys that you are on chat and are supporting us with this translation. They mentioned that camarote is cabin or VIP area. So I think you can understand that we have our audience with us here, and we have someone that would like to ask a question for Håkan.
Is a student. Let's see.
Let's see.
Can you listen to us?
I think it's Leonardo.
Hello, guys.
Olá, Leonardo. Bom dia.
Oi,
Good
bom
morning.
dia, gente. Tá tudo bem? Let's in English.
In English, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
So I'm a new intern in Scania in SLA. So I would like to ask for Håkan about the smart cities. And smart cities are very noted in the digital transformation tokens. And I'd like to know what kind of infrastructure is basic to become the autonomous vehicles a reality. So in the perspective of resources, in the challenges of engineering, I would like to know about this.
Thank you, Leonardo. Håkan, that's for you.
Yeah, thanks. I think there was some problem with the sound. So I couldn't pick up the entire question. Patricia, is it possible for you to read it again?
Okay, Leonardo is asking you what kind of infrastructure is needed or is a basic to start thinking about the smart city when it comes to applying, of course, implementing days in this smart city? What kind of basic infrastructure do we need to move on that?
Thanks.
Well, perfect. I think it's I'm having a bit of sound problems here, but let's try. We are developing for the normal infrastructure. That's the end goal. You shouldn't need a very specific infrastructure for autonomous vehicles or for reaching the smart city. There needs to be a few things that are in place. And one of those things is connectivity. We need to be able to interact with the vehicle. But the vehicles need to be as smart as they can be. They need to be able, autonomy means that they are self-sufficient. They can analyze and determine and solve the situation that they are encountering. So there's, apart from the traditional infrastructure, there's some connectivity and some supporting bits that need to be in place. It needs to be easy for the vehicles to navigate across the roads, etc. So, and the easier it is, the earlier it will be possible to implement autonomous vehicles on the roads.
Fantastic. So I think connectivity is the basic. So we need to have connectivity to be able to have the autonomous. That's for you, Leonardo. I hope we have answered you. So we have now a question, another one for Tony, is it right?
Yes, a question for Tony. I think Michelle. Michelle, can you hear us?
Let's see if Michelle is on. Wait a minute. Oh,
hello,
hello, Michelle.
We can see you. Can you hear us?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, perfectly. Go
Okay.
on, please.
So my name is Michel. I'm from São Paulo. I'm studying electrical engineering in Mackenzie, and I'm an intern in SLA on technical product planning and research office. And my question is for Tony. So Tony, what would be the main challenges for Scania as a century company to compete with startups so that we will not lose the timing of new technologies and new business models? Thank you so much.
Well, Tony, you see, everybody's very interested to know how we're going to be driving the shift quick. But since we have
Yes.
students and the audience, the external public, everybody's listening to us here today. So we are curious to know.
So thank you, Michelle. A very good question. And as Patricia said before, we need to train our staff and employees continuously and reskill and continue to evolve with the latest front of technology. And one of the initiatives that I started in my previous position was the Innovation Factory. So that is, I would say, a combined internal idea incubator where we train our employees in entrepreneurship, meaning we train them to evaluate new concepts, new ideas, and build their own company. So the final prize is the ability to start their own spin-out from Scania company, their own company. But not everybody does that. And the main benefit for Scania is that everybody that participates in the program will be trained in the innovation methods and an entrepreneurship that they can utilize in the day-to-day work afterwards. And that will help the Scania organization to transform and compete with the startups and the later upcomers. But also in my new position, as I said, I'm now responsible for a scale up within e-mobility. We're now implementing the Horizon 2 concept of Scania. So that's also part of the shift and the journey towards sustainable transport. That we are now trying to act like a startup and compete with the newcomers on the market and be fast and agile, producing latest technology in small series and placing them on the market as probe for the later steps in the industrialization.
Fantastic. Innovation Factory. What a good idea. Let's see if we have here at SLA also an Innovation Factory version. Let's see. Exciting. Thank you very much, Tony. We have more questions, right, Juliana?
Yes, now we have a question. I think Bruno is with us. Bruno, can you hear us? Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so my questions is to Hakan. First of all, good morning, everyone. Appreciate the opportunity to enjoy the discussion here. So my name is Bruno. I'm from south of Minas Gerais, but at the beginning of the year, I moved to São Bernardo, where is the Scania, to start to work at intern powertrain purchasing here in the department. So now my questions is, Hakan, when we talk about innovation, the concept of this word comes from create something new, and this leads to inventing something new. Along the histories, we have seen this notion is not quite right. Many things have been reinvented and even redacted. Thus, how is your perspective so that people and society follow a path of harmony with our surrounding environment towards the future, with all the creation and readaptation we have involved both of technological and behavior aspects?
Okan, were you
Thank
able
you,
to?
Bruno.
Okay. Did you hear?
No, I wasn't able to hear the whole question. Once again, Patricia, do you think you could repeat? Because
I will try to help you. Yes. Bruno is asking.
Perfect. Thanks.
Asking how it's going to be us able to, first of all, the concept on innovation. Is it creating something out of nothing or just reinventing something new? That's one insight that he brings to share with you. And the next one is how we can, from where we are, how we can invent even more up from AC technology and so on. Are we going to be able to prospect even more? So there's a saying, right, Bruno? If you can imagine, you can make it happen, right? Is it so for innovation? How is your feeling for innovation?
Well, innovation, and I think Tony is the right guy for innovation with his history within Scania. But for me personally, innovation is about being creative, asking why not do it in a different way. Why do we have to accept that something, just because something has been going on for a very long period of time, why does it have to be that way? So it's a way to challenge the existing norm and create that innovative and creative space where you find a different solution to a similar to an old problem. That's very often innovation. And within the ACE technologies and the technology shift that we are in the middle of right now, I think there is a reason why we call it the ACE technology shift, and that's because once they are combined, they enable something totally different. And just out of curiosity, electrification was the last one we put in place. Tony was part of those various projects back in 2014 and 15, and first we said autonomy will happen, connectivity is happening, but we were a bit hesitant on electrification back then because there was limited battery capacity, it was quite expensive, and there was a huge constraint with the driver because in Europe you're allowed to drive for 4.5 hours, 40 tons, 80, 90 kilometers per hour, and then you only have 45 minutes to recharge. And in 2015, we had that eureka moment when we realized that, well, if you introduce autonomous technology, then that's going to enable a different setup of how you do transport, because you are not limited by the driving hours of the human driver anymore. There's no 4.5 hours, 45 minutes recharging time, which means that you have degrees of freedom. When you combine the various three technologies, it opens up degrees of freedom, and we could see then that electrification will happen. And then since that, I should also mention that there's been so much advancements in battery technology, energy storage, energy density, cost per kilowatt hour, etc. So it's a fantastic journey that's happened since. But the real revolution was revelation, I should say, was when we saw that the combination of the technologies led to something else. And that leads us to, if you combine these technologies, you can start questioning, what does a truck or a bus look like?
I cannot hear Håkan right now. Are you back?
Sorry, it was someone trying to connect with me on Teams. Sorry, I can't turn
No
that
problem.
off.
This is the
Home
new world,
office
the
signal.
resilience,
It
home
is.
office. Yes, it's cool. So
And the smart society is not smart enough to see that I'm already in a call. But anyway.
thank you.
But I think it's in the combination between the ACE
You want me
technologies
to compliment
and the
you,
degrees of
Håkan?
freedom.
Sure.
Yes, please.
Yes, but wait a minute,
Yeah.
Tony. For our public, you just heard Håkan. Ask why not. Ask why not. Why shouldn't? No, you should ask why before. No, why not? I think this is a good insight for all of us, since we've been following this week with many insights from other speakers. Okay, thank you, Håkan. So, jumping in his answer, Tony, how would you complement?
Well, starting off with stating that there is no universal definition of innovation. Everybody has their own tweak on it. But the one that I like the best is the one stating that innovation is something new, generating value for someone. So it's not enough creating a new invention or patent. You need to also deliver value to some kind of customer. And then following up with that, you can also separate innovation in different categories. You could have incremental innovation, and then you do small improvements. Like Håkan mentioned, the batteries were incrementally evolving better and better. That's also the Scania philosophy historically, to do that. Then you can have radical innovation, and then you take bigger leaps in technology, going from lithium-ion batteries into steady-state batteries, for instance. Or you could have disruptive innovation, and then you do like Uber and Airbnb, and you disrupt the business model in the whole value chain. And perhaps that's what we will see when we combine the ACE technologies. Then we have the disruption potential, as we illustrated a year ago, 2 years ago, with the NXT concept. That's what it could look like, but no one really knows yet.
Fantastic, but because I really am. You guys had the worst spot today, because we're on the spot of being having the vision and looking for the future. So it's not, there's no right or wrong answers. It's about foreseeing the future. So thank you so much for being with us and talking to our public about what Scania is working today, looking for the future. But of course, we have the vision, and we're gonna be in this journey for sustainable transport, connect with the highest technology and innovation. And thank you so much, Håkan and Tony, for being with us. Camarote, our public, stay tuned, because we have more to come. Thank you. See you guys. Thank you.
Bye. Bye, bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Muito bem. Voltamos para o português agora, aquela hora.
Great, we're back into Portuguese. We're going to have a break now. They love it because it's a time to grab a little cup of coffee. You can send a message, send an email, but get back here with us. We're going to have a lot for this last day of Tech Week. See you soon.
In a big city, in the not too distant future, somebody orders a new pair of jeans from a popular online sales company. Just a normal, everyday event. But in our vision of an integrated and sustainable transport system, reduction of waste is a priority, whether it's waste of space, time, or energy. A digital notification is sent to a command center to create an optimized transport plan for the package. The command center sends a driverless cargo carrier to pick it up at the online company, together with other goods going the same way. carrier continues to a transport hub. At the hub, other driverless electrified cargo carriers are queuing for their destinations. Their routes are arranged to maximize capacity and shorten both time and distance. As they leave the hub, they travel along dedicated lanes with an inductive electronic power transmission, charging their batteries while driving. All hooked up to a connected platoon, minimizing air resistance and saving energy. The platoon breaks up again as it enters the city. Each carrier leaves for the inner city distribution central, best suited for its cargo. A digital notification tells the command center that the package is about to arrive. Already attached to the package, a small drone takes the B line to execute final delivery at the right address. Our end customer receives a message that the jeans are on their way. The drone confirms delivery, and before our happy jeans buyer has had the time to try them on, it's already off for a new assignment, picking up a parcel from a nearby address on its way back.
Almost everything that surrounds us has been transported. And with our cities growing by 2 million people a week, our networks are struggling to keep up. The consequences: congestion, accidents, and pollution. Our mission is to make people and goods flow better. Because over time, our transport networks haven't evolved in the most efficient way. So we need to look beyond the individual vehicle, avoid busy areas, move together by the most direct route, sweep through junctions, orchestrate our networks and vehicles to create the most efficient routes. Some transport systems have the benefit of a central control. So imagine if vehicles could be coordinated in a similar way. At Scania, we're doing just that, already with vehicle platooning and with our automation technology in ports, forestry, and mines. We're delivering cost-effective solutions and unlocking the vast potential of connected autonomous vehicles. The next step is to open our minds, open our roads, and open our cities to automation.
We've all got big ideas about the future.
Olá, olá, bem-vindo de volta. Vocês que estão aqui.
Welcome back, everyone. You're all here connected to our Tech Week. We're switching from English to Portuguese. Now we've had some Sweden guests, but now it's time to talk a little bit more about people, the people who are directly dealing with the transformation in the world that we live in. We concluded that they will be fundamental to the digital transformation of any organization, this culture that we have been talking since Monday. Business are made by people for people, even though in the middle of the process we have robotization, technology, and it's all connected. But great, because the future is humane, and we are in this future. To talk about this and to invite our next guest, I want to talk to Sandra Leite. She's responsible for talent acquisition and people development at Scania Latin America. What a mission, Sandra. Good morning. Good morning, Patricia. It's a huge pleasure to be participating with you guys. It's been an intense week. The Tech Week is reaching its end, but it's been a week of learning. Looking a little into the technology, it's impressive how technology has changed our way of living, the way we behave, the way we relate, and the way we work. For example, when I started at Scania, I started at technology and I used index cards. I think if you're watching us, very few of you know what an index card is, but I'm proud of it. I saw this change with my eyes. With technology, we can show that the human potential is wonderful because it creates technology and promotes technology. So as a user, we promote it even more. And the good part is to be together with technology. For example, have you imagined living without Google or without your cell phone? That is hard. And the smartphones, they started being popular at the 90s, and look at how much they have transformed our habits. Technology is a reality. It is everywhere. So let's look at it as an ally, not as competition. If you ask it, when you asked me if I would ride a bus, a driverless bus, it's shocking. How am I going to deal with artificial intelligence making the decisions that I use it to make? How would an organization with this much of robotization work? It's tough. Those are not easy questions, but I am sure that our next guest will help us. He's an innovation expert. He will help us expand our views with this innovation. I would like to thank all of you that have been with us at this Tech Week, and I hope that everything we lived during this week can really help us potentialize our journey. Patricia, the floor is yours. Thank you so much. I can hear the joy in your voice, and I would like to invite you to be with us. If you still have not been with us, please. But if you're excited with everything that you heard here, you can watch it. We're going to migrate to another guest, and I want to give the floor to you. We're gonna close our day. Our last guest is coming. We've had over 30 people here. People from Scania, people from outside Scania, bringing you lots of knowledge. It's been an intense week. And as Sandra mentioned, we're going to talk about innovation with somebody who is really passionate about it. So grab your pens or grab your iPads because you're going to hear a lot of insights. This is a serial entrepreneur. He's been going to Silicon Valley for 30 years and he gets many insights from there to use at startups and to change established companies. He's the head of intelligence and innovation at Startse. Startse is like a Netflix of knowledge. It's a platform for education with content for people who want to follow entrepreneurship and other trends in the world, innovation trends. I would like to ask Cristiano to come. Cristiano, can you hear me? I can hear you. I have been following the Tech Week. I've been following you and Patricia. It's such a pleasure being here. We are happy to hear that. We're going to have a great conversation with lots of insights for our audience. I would like to first talk about something that we've been talking during the week. We talked a lot about technology, about innovation. But I want to ask you, what is our role as human beings in this future, in this promising future? Yes, the world is spinning round and round really fast, creating lots of innovations. I think the best answer is to try to be more and more humane. The world is trying to demand innovation from us, and there are many jobs that are not for human beings, that are not so humane. But a tip that I've been learning through time, after our ancestors left the caverns and brains started working with fat and we started being smart and dream, we created this characteristic of learning. So 4 tips to understand this world more professionally, and all of them have to do with learning. First, we need to relearn how to learn. How do you face your development? Do you go after your curiosity? Second, learning how to be an entrepreneur. And that has to do with being an owner of the company? No, that has to do with a state of mind. This anxiety of trying to create value for the others. The third one, to innovate. Sometimes we see that associated with a person who is a little bit crazy. But no, it's a person who has more tools to do new things. So to try to innovate, I challenge myself to innovate and learn more. The fourth is to respect the differences, respect nature, respect everything, and that we cannot miss. We are afraid to fail when, and we fail when we have a person that cannot respect. Okay, did you take note? We need to be more humane, learning how to learn, learning how to apprehend, and learning to respect. This world has loads of technology, and I would like to ask a customer question that was on the first day of Tech Week. It has everything to do with you. Eugenio Tinti wrote on the first day, and he wanted to know, technology is fantastic to improve the daily lives in society. But there is a question, why is digital transformation dragging the time? It's intoxicating people. What can you tell me about it? This is true. We wake up every day with micro crisis of anxiety, FOMO. But let's think about technology and, of course, social media. We have a dispute in the market for people's attention. We have attention machines. Everybody is fighting for everybody's attention. All the companies are fighting with the other companies, competing for attention. This is not a new idea. In the 60s in the US, there was a company, Simulmatics, and this company was one of the first ones to use data, algorithms, and trying to influence people with that. They understood that with mathematics and human behavior, they could influence people. Some people argue that they influenced Kennedy's presidency. But the world is an explosion of machines, systems of recommendation in your screen. But this is old. We are afraid our kids play too much video games, but marketing involved before, come smoke my cigarette, come drink my drink, use my brand. So this search for attention has always been there. Maybe now, digitally, it reached levels where we need to control the technology. Technology doesn't control me, I control technology. Do you know TikTok? Look at how TikTok's algorithm works. When I enter the first time on TikTok, it shows me 8 videos in 8 categories. I don't see that there are 8. I look. But the more I scroll, they can see, oh, he likes sports. Crow likes sports. So he gets me into a cluster of sports. Volleyball, basketball, and so on. And then he can see, oh, Crow likes football. Then he goes into, okay, goal scenes. Oh, then maybe from a specific team. The more I see one team, Cruel likes goals from one team. So I get addicted, I get pleasure out of it, and I get dumber. So this is one of the causes why mathematics and algorithms are polarizing people. They're pushing people to the extremes. We need to be critical with all these environments. So one of the good tips is to have a ghost user. Is your Netflix recommending too much of the same? You can create a ghost account, a new account to get new recommendations, because everybody's trying to recommend you things and you can be addicted. I have to have a trust value here with you guys. And I love it when Håkan mentioned the positive side of technology. I don't think technology is bad for anybody. I understand that people can be bad and use technology. So let's not put the blame on a third party. Let's be responsible to use this technology. That's my 2 cents on it. You talked about attention machines and people who are working from home, like Pachi and I. We have the little attention machines who want to poke us in the middle of the meetings. You've talked a lot about this. We live in a digital bubble. So it's interesting to create this ghost user. I'm gonna try that during the weekend to watch different movies on Netflix. I'm writing down your tips here. The guys from our chat are also taking notes. They're commenting, they're saying congratulations, amazing. Let's try to use your time the best way possible. So with all this technology, this information that generates anxiety and addiction, what kind of skills can we develop to live with this hectic world? I think professionally, we have always been challenged to be specialists, but nowadays, I've been trying to bet on the hybrid skills. We're talking about hard skills, but we're talking about soft skills, the emotional skills as well. We need to be a mix of both. We need to be broader. A company called Burning Glass had an interesting study. They have studied, I think, 1 million job offers, and there was a pattern. the best positions were ones that had more hybrid demands. This capacity of thinking systemically, understanding the business, understanding the context. Maybe what I need to understand, a lot of people use the term polymath, a person that doesn't have one specialty, but many specialties. They are wider than a generalist. They have more than one specialty, and they're more lateral. As if they challenged us as humans to learn more. You're a mechanical engineer, you learn how to work with Python, or maybe you're financial, but then you have skills on data, not understanding just numbers, but understanding data. Maybe you're on commercial sales, but you're an influencer, you have communication skills. Maybe you're marketing, but then you're good at design, UX, communication. And then now you discover that devs also need usability layers so they can develop better. A good way of thinking is opening this range and knowing that I can be a specialist, but challenge myself more. If a job is like a checklist of items, of cognition items, don't you agree that can be automatized? That looks like it could be automatized. So what is the humane works? Is the one that the machine cannot do. If the machine can do it, I shouldn't be doing it. So one of this matters is to challenge ourselves to learn more and more varied things. It's the lifelong learning journey. Oh, but my grandparents learned throughout their lives. Yes, but not in the intensity, the range that we are doing it now. I look forward today and I'm so excited about the amount of things that I don't know. This is not a vulnerability. This is a sense of opportunity that is amazing. Studying can be boring sometimes, but learning is amazing. Never stop learning different things because you will discover things that you didn't even know.
Ele falou de aprender.
Very good, Cristiano. He told about learning how to learn. I love learning, but I don't know how much I've learned this week. It's so much. My brain it had so much information, but there are questions here. First, I want to say, Ju said that the ones who have kids at home, and how was the home office like? Everybody identified with this. We have to give attention to many things, many challenges. We learned a lot in this home office, this pandemic. And people at our VIP box, they sent questions. João Cardoso is asking how to potentialize and take better things from living with people with different generations, like in a company as Canada, this process of learning again, innovate, respecting each other. The generations dilemma for you, what do you say? I think it's fantastic. I am the oldest at Startse, and I love all the kids. And about respecting, when you live and make exchange with people with so many different beliefs and sometimes different traumas. And we see these different perspectives. Why diversity has so much value to innovation? Because when you bring different perspectives, you tend to create things which are much more innovative and fair. We need to invest in this chance of meet someone different, reading something you never read before, going for the new model, facing challenges, prejudice, discovering new things we didn't know before. I think about doing things differently, different people. For example, let's try to understand about ACE autonomous, connected, and electrification out of the transportation sector. What is happening autonomous in agribusiness? What is happening connected with other systems? I don't know that you can imagine. And this is a way of helping us and reflecting on things differently, lateral thinking, knowing different people, interacting with different people, having different perspectives. It tends to make us better than we are. And together, we are able to do something that nobody believed it could be possible. I said about oxygenating my mind. Sometimes I need oxygen in my mind because sometimes we are so much around our circle. We have another question from Leonardo Oliveira. He said he's following you at Start. See, you have a fan. And you've been always of reference regarding soft skills. How do you see the development of emotional intelligence in the middle of this infoxication scenario? Thank you, Leonardo, for the cue. I'm honored. I will have to do a good job right now. This soft skill, we're talking about social emotional. In the professional world, no doubt, but what is social emotional? How do I understand my social skills, me with the others? Am I getting a team? Do I know how to relate to others? Do I know how to get a feedback? Do I know how to give a better feedback? Do I know how to rule a team, to be ruled when it's opportune, when it's necessary? Do I know how to solve complex problems? And on the other hand, we have some things inside myself, emotional things. Am I coping okay with the pandemic, with the society? Am I drinking too much now that I'm always at home? Those things, they are fundamental to deal with these adversities the life is bringing to us, but a lot to deal with uncertainty. A code that we need to accept. The world moving forwards will bring a lot of ambiguity in the understanding, to understand uncertainties. What is mathematical? In my grandparents' life, 5 things could change. Their future were a combination of those 5 things. In my life, I have like 50 things that can be changed. And I have more futures possible. And my kid will have 500, so much more. It will bring a lot of ambiguity, uncertainty, and uncertainty brings anxieties, small crises, and learning to deal with uncertainties, differences is vital. I have to be good with myself. This is fundamental. The way of treating each other, treating yourself, understand understand you're not perfect. Emotional intelligence is vital because it is enable us to learn, to innovate, and respect others. And I'm always thinking we are in this pandemic, learning every day to deal with so many things. It's a challenge. And I can say it's not easy. And we respect a lot this moment of everybody. We're in the middle of pandemic. It's hard, so much pressure. But that's why we are doing a light show in here with a lot of knowledge so you can be focused on it and open your mind. It's important. And of course, in our day, it's hard, but we have to be strong to deal with all of those things. Emotional intelligence is really important. I have a lot of questions in our chat, but I want to make one. Some people were curious about that. Which tips you would give to people that want to start diving in this digital world? There are so many things. Where you look first? The first thing is eliminate one of the prejudices. I love the pandemic history because we have all the drama of the human life, economic impact. We are seeing different things, maybe becoming more tolerating more things because we are working and the dog is barking, the kid is running, all this good vulnerability in environments where I can show vulnerability, it creates confidence. And that's the pilot to create innovation and make things more awesome. But how to get into this tech world? First, let's eliminate the first prejudice. I'm too old for that. Delete that. Those are mental barriers we create for ourselves. There's no age to learn something. Sometimes it's too early to learn something, but it's never too late. But think about this tech world. Technology currently, what is that? For me, technology is everything that is not natural. If you look around it, everything is technology. My pen in here was once in the past was a huge technology. Technology is also something they invented before you were born. If you were younger, something was there when you were born, and we that saw things arriving, maybe we can think they are strange, but you can think it's not natural, but everything is technology, but it takes a time to get used to it. In the first look, there's a tone of magic and a tone of threaten. People that are afraid of technology, they don't like to make changes. They don't like things they don't know. They don't dominate because our head is formed to protect ourselves. If you want to start, someone that is more advanced in tech, the geeks in here and the ones less geek. The first point is activating this curiosity side. Make your checklist, go for the things, make this a habit. Saturday morning, you get your morning list, you open it, start to see website, then I go to YouTube, Google, and have fun with that. And there's one thing that worth you to search. No code. You know, the coding is programming. There's a new generation of technology being created for people that don't know how to program, but they can build something digital. If you are from legal area, search for it, no code, legal no code. If you're an engineer, engineering no code, machine learning, no code, no code IoT, go searching for things like that. You see so many new tools. Maybe they are interesting to start using technology. Everybody knows how to use Word, PowerPoint, Excel. You have so many tools for people which are not much like a geek, but can do things. If you're a geek, if you're a tech, if you have an advanced digital mindset, I would say understanding more about APIs, digital supply chain. We had a supply chain of physical supply. Now it's digital. You can imagine Uber is something, it's like 40,000 small piece of software, microservices. Who understands technology today will have to understand more about APIs, microservices, and each time more building technology will be combining things. That's why we have to draw technologies that will be connected with the others. My two tips for the ones less geek and the geek ones, you go to the digital supply chain. Nobody's out of this learning journey. Thank you, Cristiano. And we have so many comments. It's beautiful what's happening this last day of Tech Week. We have a guest in here following with us. Eduardo is in Sweden, and he's saying, excellent way of ending this week. It's not, we don't have to blame technology. I miss you all. We miss you, Edu, and then we go on. Congratulations. So good to end this week. I really like it. Cristiano, you have fans all over. Everybody's happy. Closing it with in a happy way is a good thing. But it's such a pity because that's the time, isn't it? But before ending, we'll call our VIP box. Cristiano, wait a minute, because VIP box has something to tell you. Okay? We have a question. That's it? Yes, we have Marina. Are you with us? Are you listening to us? Yes. Let's go, Marina. Good morning. Welcome. It's really good to be here. I'm from Pernambuco, and I participated at Innovaton from Scania in 2019. I have two questions to make. Go ahead. First question, how to be mentally prepared for the future of work? This question, many people have technology-related anxieties, and this pressure of always being present in social media. And the other question, in the future, we will have professions that will not depend on the digital world, or all of them will have to be adapted to this new reality. Nice question. It's something that we make sleep over it. But if you see from the first to the second one, the need to adapt to technology, technology will be every time more present, each time more embedded, present, and we'll reach a point where we don't see them as technology. As I said, electrical lighting here, I do not admire it anymore because it's part of my life. We will have more human jobs naturally. That's the path. Some say we'll have only two ways of positions in the future, nerds and nurses, because or you're a tech or you're human. I don't know, it's so split, but there will be a lot of positions that will require some activities that are born with the human being that machines cannot be. I would defend two things to try to answer your questions. It's a kind of a philosophical question. First, we always hearing about artificial intelligence, automation. I think the term intelligence, it's intelligence is something different. Human intelligence is different of this thing that we are doing that is amazing. And for me, the best explanation I had for that, what we are, the way we think, our awareness, it's something different of intelligence among machines. Have you done something for love? Did you do something for love? If you did that, it was not so smart, it's not so intelligent. That's the magic of being human. We can hack things differently. I have different purposes. I'm not rational necessarily in some decisions I make, and that makes us human. That's the magic of life. This is loving, respecting different things of the ones that we can get from these machines we are seeing. And maybe in this whole cycle of what it is and what we will have in the future, how to deal with it, something that I would like to challenge you all to end TechWeek. You probably saw a lot of good, nice things. You wrote down a lot of things. You are curious with some things, and something brought you anxiety. Two things. First, have a more positive and optimistic side with things. It's so easy to be a pessimist. In a debate, the pessimists swallow the optimists in two sentences. The optimists are the ones that create, they innovate. Just give a faith leap. Look at it to more optimism. The changes are coming for good. The second thing, I hope I help you to answer. If you find something interesting this week, write down, investigate, and find someone that you like and tell this person about it. Try to teach something for this person, because if you create curiosity in this person, you will make more curiosity arise from you. This person will find things and will go to others. The word will circulate and it will come back to us. Try to get value to other people, finding new things for other people. This is awesome and will make our world better. And if someone tried to use artificial intelligence for the evil, there will be a lot of good people that will inhibit this bad thing.
Wow, wonderful, fantastic. We also have another question for you from our VIP cabin, from Enzo. Good morning. Good morning, guys. Can you guys hear me well? We can hear you just fine. I would first like to thank the opportunity. I'm very glad with this invitation. I'm representing human resources team here at TechWeek. It's been a week of intense learning, and we are really ending this with a golden key. I study in the university, and I'm an intern for the work relationships here at Scania. We have a lot of advancements, and the tools contribute for time optimization, productivity, and the ascending curve on what we show for all our metrics. This digital transformation is part of all the processes to get new talent. And how can this process influence even from the first steps until the final steps of hiring for new positions? Well, first of all, I'm jealous because you're 21. I wish I was 21 so I could be so young to watch this new world. You work with human resources, you're attracting talent. If I was a young person looking for a new company, what would I try to see? Well, there are many possible futures, so future doesn't exist. I can do the future, or someone else near me that is willing to create the future can do it. When I saw the Tech Week and I realized that our mission was bicycles, trains, and now the future is strong, sustainable. We are in over 100 countries. We have tons of people. We saw the team, Hokan and Tony, facing these differences, talking with startups, talking about working together with startups, reinventing themselves as a company, that we have to face competitors, that we have to be able to form partnerships with newcomers. We don't know exactly how we are going, but we have a strong mission there. This is the strongest way to bring talents, to have a true established purpose, to have this exchange, this openness that will attract people who are curious, people who are builders. Amazon said that they like to bring to their teams people who have ownerships minds. They like to do a lot with a little. If you draw the entire journey of people's relationships, you will see that technology will enable us to reinvent many things, using an algorithm to speed up resume check, to analyze behavior to see who is less anxious, to bring knowledge to make my team develop, finding new things that will make them develop. Technology will enable many things in the journey of human resources, but the main one is the culture. I came with Start's shirt with our culture because you need to remember that's what makes Scania. That's the team. I was pleased to see many young faces, many interns that wanted to ask questions. This is the coolest thing you're creating here. This generation that created so much and still has so much to learn and create, but these youngsters want to really start and go there and still have a lot to learn and to invent. Thank you, fantastic. That's music to our ears. What now? Now we want to thank you, Cristiano. We want to finish our day and our week. Thank you so much for your participation. And we need to move on. It's sad to say that, but Tech Week is finishing. What a week to remember. We've talked about technology, digital transformation, digitalization, people, agile, reinventing, consumer behavior, and so much more. You also could get to know the other side of Scania, and we need to know what influenced you the most. So in one word, write the main insight you're taking from Tech Week. You write, send, and we're gonna watch on our screen the results of your insights. Let's see what people are writing as an inspiration. I'm getting messages of people who are very emotional with Cristiano's talk. Let's see what you're seeing. This Mentimeter is about feeling. This is humane. It's the empathy that Håkan mentioned. Robots won't substitute people. We're here together. Thank you for being here and using your time for us this week. We have innovation, all the insights. What else? Knowledge, change. Future is now, learning more, humanities. What else? Inspiration. We are here today to inspire. Knowledge. Scania is tech, not just trucks. This is one of our objectives. Learning out of the box. We are all out of the box here. Sharing. Beautiful. Protagonism. Strengthening, reinventing, renovation. Amazing, guys. Put your words. This is the feel for us to continue doing amazing things. Cristiano said, someone is there to do the future. We hope to be a seed to do a better future for everyone. Yes, we are all seeds here, but that's it. As you mentioned, it was an intense week, but very worthy. We provided a lot of knowledge and we learned a lot as well. Let's multiply this. Scania is tech, and overall, Scania is made from Juliana's, Leo's, Donato's, Vitor's, Christopher's, Håkan's, Cesar's. Scania is made from people, made from resilience. Because you cannot construct 100 years without dreams and will, without focus and determination. You don't get to 100 without tripping, but we don't live from what we have been. The past was what it had to be. We live from what it will be, and future will be what we decide to do now. We are not what we used it to be. But Scania is still not what it wants to be. And this is the feel from all of us here in this room at Tech Week. Digital transformation that everybody mentioned here is nothing more than the part of a journey that has started back then. Because impacting people and changing the world is big. As big as each of us here at Tech Week. You that has interacted, laughed, questioned, and got excited with us. In midst of so much sadness, we're not in a bubble. We wanted to share with you some lightness. In 2018, we went through Latin America showing people that are willing to transform the world and make it more sustainable during the series of The Journey. And today we delivered, Juliana and I, and hundreds of people who are supporting this event, we delivered this week the same we delivered back then, purpose. And we do that passionately, dedicating our best in what we believe. And how we learn, and we have learned this week, believing is a strong word. We would like to end here inviting you to transform the world. Even if this world is not tech, let's transform the world. I would like to thank you all. It was a beautiful event. We need to take our selfie. Everybody behind us. We can also put the names of everybody who was part of Tech Week. Oh, look at everyone. All of you who were watching us. I'm terrible at selfies. I don't even know how to do it. But you can see us, right? Oh, we are here. Yes. This is not fake. We are here. Thank you. Thank you for this amazing week. Put your name on the chat so we can leave it and we'll never forget it. Look at all these people. Nelsons, Cruels, Adolfos, Elysias. This is Scania. I won't say anything else, but let's leave with a question. Are we going to have Tech Week in 2022? It has been an honor. Thank you. And see you soon. A round of applause to all of you. You have sent us questions, service. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Amazing work group. Thank you. I want to be with you guys every day, not just IT. We are all communication. That's what we have learned this week. Thank you, thank you. Let's thank all of you guys. Thank you, all of you following us throughout this week. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. See you. Thank you. We have to take measure to take more care of the water we are using, use the resources better for this climate crisis, and to create a more sustainable development that we will use in the future. We are trying to do an auto-sustainable station in the middle of the desert. The sky is clean and it bathes you with stars and after with water. That's magic, isn't it? There are 22 years dedicated to conserving a species that we hope it will leave endangerment. For a biologist, for a researcher, to see these whales coming back, this is very emblematic. We are performing investigation how to make a food 100% edible and share that with others. That has to do with the relationship among human beings in harmony with the environment. Climate change today is a reality. We have to adopt measures to adapt to the future conditions. Attitudes that transform the world.
Somos mais de 200 profissionais.
We are over 200 professionals divided in several areas. Here in the solutions areas, we develop systems in several technologies such as SQL, AWS, Oracle, Angular, .NET, and our product supports all areas of Scania, from the tip in selling our products and services going through all the planning, logical support to the final assembly in our factories to ensure the quality of our products. For all this to be done with quality and security here at Infrastructure, we have several teams that work with database, virtualization, server and client operation, cloud and automation. Connectivity and collaboration are also very important pillars for us. And if there are deviations in any of our IT services, our incident management team is available 24/7 to ensure the incident is resolved and to make sure this service is restored as quickly as possible. We cannot forget that we are always learning and looking for innovation. We have several challenges in the area of chatbot, data, RPA, artificial intelligence, and machine learning. Do you want to be a part of these challenges with us? Come be a tech and make the change towards sustainable transport. Come to Scania.